During the Biden administration, there were 13 threatened shutdowns. The Republicans in the minority did the right thing. We kept the government open. If the Democrats make the decision to shut the government down, the consequences are on them, and I think it's absolutely tragic.
As the clock ticks down to midnight, Washington stumbles and bumbles toward a government shutdown. History shows that these tend to be more political theater than economic crisis. The most recent shutdown lasted 35 days from December 2018 through mid-January 2019. During that time, the U.S. created an average of 221,000 jobs, way above the typical pace for that year. The same goes for the 2013 shutdown. More jobs were created during that period than the average month that year. Even jobless claims, the closest thing we have to a real-time recession alarm, barely budged. So while the economy powers on, powers through, you know what doesn't trust in Washington? Congressional approval, job approval, sits at about a sad 27% when lawmakers can't even keep their own lights on, voters notice. This is purely political, Charles. This is about Chucky Schumer voting to keep the government open for the continuing resolution earlier this year and getting lambasted by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who wants to primary him for the Senate. So that is all this is about. Yeah. So let the Democrats shut it down. The House passed a clean CR. It's on them.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. And he, by the way, he can't get that back. You know, no matter what he does here, he blew that. And as far as being their leader, that was the moment. But it's always political theater, right? I'm so tired of it. And you know, they fan the flames and they stoke it, and this is going to be shut down, and this is not going to happen. And of course, ultimately, everyone gets paid. Nothing truly ever happens from it. But it's a continuing resolution because we have these so-called temporary debt ceiling. I've lost track now. Is it 66, Jackie? How many times have we hiked the temporary debt ceiling?
Oh, it's so many I've lost count. You need a calculator.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's just, I mean, this has got to be one of the worst farces in the world. We have a temporary debt ceiling? Come on. We should get rid of it so that we don't have these things, because this is when they get in a lot of crap. This is when you get a lot of bridges to nowhere and that horse trading. You know, if we can get rid of this, we may be able to just chip away a little bit at the size of government, because this is when it ends up getting bigger when they cut these deals.
Well, and part of the problem with Schumer, aside from what you just mentioned, Dagan, is the fact that he's pushing for these extensions on Obamacare subsidies. Right. He's claiming that if the subsidies don't stay in place, people who are on Obamacare will see premium hikes, and that would be bad. Listen, I'm not saying I want to see people have their premiums go up, but at a certain point, we've got to make decisions about what we're doing here. When I have an insurance premium that goes up, nobody helps me. Nobody gives me a subsidy to make sure that I could cover the difference. I've got to figure it out. I've got to cut from my budget elsewhere. That's part of the way the real world works. And this is the problem in Washington, which is spend, 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 help this one, help that one. There's always a fight or a cause to make a case for. We just don't have that kind of money. And that was part of what happened in the big, beautiful bill. Some sort of cuts were made or slows in spending, but people wanted to see real cuts so that we could have a more tangible impact. You've got those arguing and saying this could actually help the Republicans in the midterms, that if this premium hike happens and people are voting in midterms, they're not going to be happy about it, and that could take a toll because they will blame the Republicans for it. But at a certain time in this country, whether you're on the right or you're on the left, we've got to get on the same page about spending, because we just don't have enough money.
Yeah, and who are the hawks now? Who are the deficit hawks? I used to feel like the Republicans were solidly the deficit hawks. I feel a little bit less so these days. Yeah, less so, obviously. But so I'm keeping an eye more than the theater that's occurring in Washington. And Charles, to your point, I mean, other networks put up countdown clocks, as you said. I mean, they turned it into a big circus. Ultimately, what powers the economy forward? It's not Washington, D.C. It is Wall Street. It's the companies. It's the families. It's the parents that are, watching our program, getting their kids to school, going to work. That is the economy. That's what powers the economy forward. So I'm watching yields. When yields start to spike, that's when I get nervous. And so far, no spike.
Well, this shutdown, unlike most of the others, might actually have some permanent effects, because if it happens, Russ Vought might say, we're going to let a whole bunch of people go who don't align with administration priorities. In other words, you're going to get a second wave of DOGE. And those folks will have Democrats to thank for it, because if they would have put through this CR, it wouldn't have happened. But I, for one, like it.
I'm fine with it, but it's disruptive. It does end up being disruptive.
It is. The only thing, and I agree with you, but I like disrupting D.C. because I'm a small government guy. I want to see the government shrink. I want to see liberty expand. And this is, so if you're that kind of person, if you're still a Republican who thinks that way, you welcome this.
But here's
this
the thing,
is how
though,
you could make that happen, and Russ Vought might actually do that.
To your point with the disruption, when I was a kid and living in Texas, I used to like those anthills. I would kick them. Maybe it sounds mean, but you ever like kick one of them over and wait?
And build it back.
They build it right back.
Oh,
Right? I mean, that's it. That's the disruption in D.C. You kick it, all of a sudden they start to scurry up, and next thing you know, what the hell? You know, it's back and stronger than ever, right? So if we could ever kick that damn thing and it would stay disrupted, that would be a great thing. We did learn something on Obama's term, right? The term non-essential workers. I had really never heard that term before. Like, well, how can someone be a non-essential worker? In most businesses, you would let the non-essential worker go.
Permanently.
We've got a lot of them in the government, a lot of them.
Yeah, the categories between who works when the government shut down and who doesn't ought to give you an indication of where, you know, some of the right sizing could happen, to put it in corporate speak.
I want to point something out before we go about the Obamacare subsidies. The subsidies were originally meant for people above the poverty line, and it caps out now. These are the original subsidies at 100, and this is adjusting for inflation according to this year. A family of four earning roughly $128,000 a year. But go back to COVID, again, emergency that never goes away. These subsidies were enhanced. So there is no income restriction on the subsidies that people get to buy Obamacare insurance. Anybody can get it. Anybody can buy it and get subsidies from the taxpayer. So what has been going on is that Congress, since 2021, has been, quote, bribing higher income Americans to purchase expensive Obamacare plans by hiding the plan's true price tag using taxpayer dollars. Premiums have increased almost 80% since 2014, and they've more than doubled since 2011. Wow. This is on the back of the taxpayers. This is a piece that G. Bai from Johns Hopkins wrote. There is no reason. And if you get rid of the enhanced subsidies, the original subsidy recipients will still qualify. But there is no reason on planet Earth that anybody, regardless of their income level, deserves a handout from the federal taxpayer to buy an Obamacare plan. It is hiding the true cost, and it is hiding. It's a handout, literally. They give money to the insurance companies.
Well, you've got some states who basically force you to be on Obamacare if you don't have, like, corporate insurance, or if you're not working for a large employer that gives you access to a plan. New York is one of them. So all of a sudden, if you don't have that access and you are forced now to choose one of their Obamacare options, you're getting this subsidy. But to your point, Dagan, not everybody who is getting it needs that subsidy. Plenty of these people have plenty of money.
It was a COVID-era emergency that no longer exists. So
but they're also shepherding people to their program because they're afraid that it will collapse if you had other choices.
Right, and it was something that Congress didn't take care of in the One Big Beautiful Bill, and it's the reimbursement for the Obamacare expansion under Medicaid, where the states that expanded Obamacare for Medicaid get $9 for every $1 in state spend, which is like 7 times more than somebody who's actually disabled on traditional Medicaid.
Great point. I mean, listen,
they never got rid of that, and they have the opportunity to get rid of it.
Insurance companies wrote the thing. I mean, so that's all you really need to know.
Yeah.
Well, and there's been plenty of time, of course, for Republicans to come up with some sort of alternative to Obamacare. Could it be a free market alternative? Could we start to see some semblance of free market economics in healthcare or healthcare delivery?
But you can't put this Obama genie back in the bottle now.
Yeah,
I'd step back and
That's
say
the problem.
Subsidies are going away.
Right.
Bye.